Hey everybody, it's Mike from the Mike Wagner Show, powered by Sonic Web Studios. Visit online at sonicwebstudios.com for all your needs. Look at a professional website without breaking your budget. Sonic Web Studios is the answer. Sonic Web Studios offers affordable custom web designs that blow the competition away. Call today, 1-800-303-3960. That's 1-800-303-3960. Or email to support@sonicwebstudios.com. Mention the Mike Wagner Show, get 20% off your first project. Sonic Web Studios, take your image to the next level. Also, the Mike Wagner Show can be heard on the MikeWagnerShow.com. You can check our Facebook page at facebook.com/the Mike Wagner Show. You can download and listen on Facebook, SoundCloud, Spreaker, Spotify, and iHeartRadio. Also on Anchor FM, Radio Public, iTunes, Google Play, and over 25 podcast platforms, including Amazon and Audible. Take the Mike Wagner Show with you on any mobile device. Subscribe to the Mike Wagner Show on the YouTube channel. Also follow the Mike Wagner Show on Instagram and Twitter today. And back by popular demand, she's a singer, songwriter, writer, actress, and published author. Performs under a very unique stage name with all kinds of furry creatures running around. But this time, only one just happened to show up, and they got sunk into a rabbit hole. And of course, they perform psychedelic folk rock, Americana, spoken word, and charting globally, just all over. Won some awards, and also involved in a number of projects. She was on our show, and back once again, live, ladies and gentlemen, from the Plush Studios, somewhere deep in a rabbit hole. Ladies and gentlemen, Kendra Muecke of Kendra and the Bunnies, or is it just one bunny today? Kendra, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Thanks for joining us once again.
Hey, Mike, thanks so much for having me on. Yeah, I guess I represent all the bunnies, but I do have a lot of personalities, so they let me represent the whole bunny, all of us.
Oh, I see. You must have got that from Alice in Wonderland, I'll bet you.
Yeah. That's actually where the title of the band is really inspired from, too.
Really, it's amazing. So once again, you've been a singer, songwriter, actress, and published author. And you do psychedelic folk rock, Americana, spoken word, and you've been in a number of organizations, support causes like we did on the show. And before we get into some of your new music and what you're going to play for us, once again, quickly tell us how you got started.
I got started in actually the theater, performing musical theater, singing and dancing and acting. I started that at a very young age. Then I went into acting and film. I started writing poetry in high school as well as playing rock and roll music in high school. I picked up the guitar right around the same age. So I started in the theater, and acting has been my backbone, and singing and acting and stuff like that. And then once I got introduced to rock and roll, I was like, this is amazing. This is exactly what I should be doing. And just kind of slowly began that route, starting and writing poetry, and then that became songwriting.
Wow, it's amazing. And who are some of your favorite artists growing up?
Britney Spears, Jefferson Airplane, Paramore, Sound Tribe, Sector 9, Animal Collective, The Grateful Dead, and Led Zeppelin.
Wow, that is an amazing cast. And how about some of your favorite authors?
Favorite authors, Hunter S. Thompson, Walt Whitman, Emerson, Henry David Thoreau, Ross Heaven, and Salinger, J.D. Salinger.
And what are some of your favorite?
Too.
Oh, wow. Okay. What about some of your favorite books? I mean, you must have been reading a book with some of the bunnies before you got on, so I could tell with some of the books up there. So.
Yeah, I'd say my favorite books are, Hunter S. Thompson's Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas, Chuck Palahniuk's Invisible Monsters and Fight Club, Ross Heaven's Confessions of the Last Confessions of the Sin Eater, Confessions of the Last Sin Eater, and a number of spiritual books. I really like memoirs where people are going into certain situations and writing a book about their experience, kind of like a travel memoir or travel diary.
And there's a lot of them out there too. And you're also an author yourself too of The Politics of and Project Non-Arch, and also Operation Clown School. And tell us about some of those and what do you got coming up for us?
Yeah, so the first book, The Politics of, is an over 300-page book of poetry, one-act plays, and philosophical essays. All of those poems are from like 10 years of writing, and I put that together in 2017. Then in 2019, I wrote the Project Non-Arc book, and that is a prose poem, long-form prose poem in 13 parts. And that's just like about my kind of like spiritual awakening and my perspective while being a 21-year-old in America. And then right now I'm writing my third book of poetry that's also going to include song lyrics, song meanings, and like how I wrote each song, as well as on and off I've been working on a memoir. It's essentially like my first novel. And I'm about 60 pages into that.
Wow, that's amazing. When can we expect your new book?
I would say the new book of poetry can be expected in 2021, and then the memoir probably the year right after that. The memoir probably 22.
Okay, and where can we find your books at?
My books are available on Amazon Books, Barnes and Noble online, some other third-party retailers, or you can get them directly from me if you send me a message or if you go to my website.
So in other words, buy from Kendra, buy from the third party unless you enjoy making Jeff Bezos a trillionaire. So it's your option.
Yeah, I mean the royalties buying directly from me allows me to hold on to the royalties completely. Whereas if someone buys it through Amazon, there's only like I only get like 30% of the 40% of the sale.
And of course, I'm sure you have the power to go up to Jeff Bezos and say, hey, how about 50-50 or 75-20? I mean, you're a trillionaire already. So
yeah, we're having dinner tonight. I was thinking I'd discuss it with him then.
Oh, that'd be great, too. Let us know how it is, and we'll talk about your music in just a minute. But first, listen to Mike Wagner Show at the MikeWagnerShow.com, powered by Sonic Web Studios. Visit online at SonicWebStudios.com for all your needs. Look at a professional website without breaking your budget. Sonic Web Studios is the answer. Sonic Web Studios offers fast, affordable custom web designs at below the competition rate. Call today, 1-800-303-3960. That's 1-800-303-3960. Or email to support@SonicWebStudios.com. Mention the Mike Wagner Show, get 20% off your first project. Sonic Web Studios, take your image to the next level. Also, the Mike Wagner Show can be heard on the MikeWagnerShow.com. You can check our Facebook page at Facebook.com/the Mike Wagner Show. You can download and listen on Facebook, SoundCloud, Spreaker, Spotify, and iHeartRadio. Also on Anchor FM, Radio Public, iTunes, Google Play, over 25 podcast platforms. Take the Mike Wagner Show with you on any mobile device. Subscribe to the Mike Wagner Show on the YouTube channel. Also follow the Mike Wagner Show on Instagram and Twitter today. We're here at Kendra Muecke of Kendra and the Bunnies here on the Mike Wagner Show. Of course, being a lone bunny and several bunnies just popping out of the heads as well, too, of Kendra Muecke as well, too. And we understand you got some new music that's coming out. And you also have an experience, too, like with vinyl, Always. You also had a big hit, Silent Sleeper, which we played before. Speak Hesse and of Always, of vinyl. And tell us about some of your music and what are some of the other music we haven't talked about in our last interview?
Yeah, so I just released a full-length album. It's my third album release. It's titled Of Thank You. It's a 15-track release with 14 tracks of music, 1 track of spoken word. I always like to do a spoken word track on my music releases. On this album that came out September 25th, I'm super excited about it. I had about 6 to 7 other artists join in to be the Bunnies per se. I had some people come in to do some electric lead solo guitar, some people to do some production and some electronic elements. And I even brought a few friends in to work on some co-writes with me, which was very fruitful because, if someone like has an inspiration for a song or just like a hook of a song, I know where to take the song from there. So it was so fun working on that. That came out on, like I said, September 25th and is available on all platforms. Coming up soon, also, I will be releasing an EP of remixes from the album. I'm working on compiling the remixes right now, so probably in about a month or maybe a month and a half or so, I'll be following up with some remixes. And then I released that single Silent Sleeper in February of 2020, which was actually like, I guess kind of not that long ago. I don't know. The world has been in a weird place. So I released a single in February 2020 that was really, really well received, and I have like over 10,000 streams on Spotify. And then the new album, is just continuing to move in the right direction, and people are loving the sound and the direction that I'm going in, and being a little bit more psychedelic folk versus just singer-songwriter. Like I'm gravitating towards a full band sound.
That is amazing as well, too. And looks like you're about to play a couple of some of the Mike Wagner Show. And What would you like to play for us tonight here or today?
I guess I'll play something from the new album. I could do our first single. The first single is Nyko Nyko. This was featuring Marcus Rizak who's based in Denver, Colorado, as lead electric guitar, as well as Garrett Morris, who's an LA or Southern California musician. He did the percussions. I played acoustic guitar and vocals on the track.
Okay. All right, here we go. Nyko Nyko with Kendra and the Bunnies on the Mike Wagner Show. That is amazing. Nico from the
Thank you.
Thank You release. And tell us more about that song and what inspired you to write it.
Okay, cool. So it stands for the New York Knockout, NYKO, NYKO. I was inspired to write it coming back from a trip to New York City where I went to record at a record studio up there in Brooklyn. And as I got back to the airport in Los Angeles, I was leaving the airport and I saw this license plate in front of me that said NYKO, and I was like, New York Knockout. I had just gotten back from New York too, so it made complete sense. You know, I really felt like the New York Knockout, walking around New York City with my guitar, performing gigs, getting to meet people, ride the subway. I just felt like an unstoppable force. And so that kind of like idea of the New York Knockout was born. It's also inspired by some classic rock songs. Iko Iko by the Dixie Cups that was
I
recorded.
remember that song. That's a classic.
Yeah, and then Not Fade Away that Buddy Holly wrote in the 1950s.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Wow. That is amazing. And what are some of the other songs of Thank You like to talk about?
Okay, so there's so many different like songs on there. It's kind of like a concept album, and it goes, you know, it has that kind of mountain peak about maybe like track 8 or track 9. So I guess I want to talk about well, there's just so many different ones. Let's talk about, yeah, that track 8 and track 9. My friend Matt Kilgore from All Shapes Music, we got to know each other at a gig that we both did at the House of Blues in Anaheim. So we just became friends and stuff like that, and he plays the guitar and he is able to produce like electronic music, so he also has an electronic music side project. And as I was putting the album together, there's this one song, these songs I'm talking about are just very kind of standard, easy chord progressions, and they're very Americana based. One of them is a little bit more blues based, but it's very like folk Americana based. And I reached out to my friend, the one who does the electronic producing, and I was like, you know, I wonder what he can do with this song, because it just sounded like the song wanted to be, you know, have a bigger sound to it. So I sent it to him, and he sent me back just like these kind of like very immersive production tracks, these very immersive produced tracks that are just like awesome. And so they went from like being just standard folk. This is the track Well Toiled Routine and A Tall Order. They just went from being like folk, you know, singer-songwriter songs to really stand out rock and roll immersive tracks with this like, you know, big quality to them.
That is amazing. Where can we find Thank You at?
It's streaming on all platforms, so wherever you like to listen to music, Spotify, Apple Music, YouTube, Bandcamp, it's available for download on Bandcamp, Amazon, Google Play. I have a Pandora station if you type in Kendra and the Bunnies. It's pretty good. It's like definitely Americana and a little bit country, the Pandora station.
That sounds very good. And we got a few more things to wrap up with Kendra and the Bunnies. But first, listen to the Mike Whitener Show at the MikeWhitenerShow.com, powered by Sonic Web Studios. Visit online at SonicWebStudios.com for all your needs. Looking at a professional website without breaking your budget? Sonic Web Studios is the answer. Sonic Web Studios offers fast, affordable custom web designs that blow the competition away. Call today, 1-800-303-3960. That's 1-800-303-3960. Or email to support@SonicWebStudios.com. Mention the Mike Whitener Show. Get 20% off your first project. Sonic Web Studios. Take your image to the next level. Also, the Mike Whitener Show can be heard on the MikeWhitenerShow.com. You can check our Facebook page at Facebook.com/The Mike Whitener Show. You can download and listen on Facebook, SoundCloud, Spreaker, Spotify, and iHeartRadio. Also on Anchor FM, Radio Public, iTunes, Google Play, over 25 podcast platforms, including Amazon and Audible. Take the Mike Whitener Show with you on any mobile device. Subscribe to the Mike Whitener Show on the YouTube channel. Also follow the Mike Whitener Show on Instagram and Twitter today. We're here at Kendra Muecke of Kendra and the Bunnies here on the Mike Whitener Show. Kendra playing solo bunny with several bunnies jumping out of her very creative head as well, too. We talked about Thank You, her latest release, along with the new single Nico, and talked about some other works. And also going to ask you, what do you got coming up in 2021 and beyond for us?
I have some exciting stuff coming up. I'm going to Denver next month, so October of 2020, to play some shows for the album release. I also have a lot of friends there too that I'm going to get to see, which is super fun. And then in 2021, I'll be performing in Arizona, probably around Los Angeles and California a bit more as things start to open up in California again. And, I'm working on that third book of poetry. And as far as music goes, I will have the EP out with remixes of Thank You. That'll probably be in the next month or so. 2021, we're looking at a cover album. I want to do about 6 songs cover album to kind of like show off the different styles that I do. Britney Spears, Stevie Nicks, who else? Grace Slick. Some of those different influences that I have. I really want to hone those in. And then I also have like a full another album written. So it just depends on what kind of project comes up first, whether it's the cover songs or the full album. But this next full album will be more folk rock. Like Of Thank You was very psychedelic. This one's going to be more traditional rock.
That sounds good, and we're looking forward to that. And also, you have a podcast as well, too, the Politics of Kendra. And quickly tell us about that, and where can we find? What's the latest?
Cool. So the podcast is titled The Politics of Kendra. I've been using that name for a while. When I started publishing poetry in the 2000s, I created The Politics of Kendra. And so this podcast, I bring on fellow musicians, people in the entertainment industry to talk about culture, to talk about music, to talk about their career, the industry, and I like to go into like some vulnerable places. So wherever the conversation leads, sometimes it's to spiritual things, sometimes it's about society or different things going on in the world, and we kind of just talk about whatever. That's on Anchor, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts and Pocket Casts. Again, it's called The Politics of Kendra. New episodes every 2 weeks on Saturdays.
That is amazing. Looking forward to that, and I can't wait to get in the rabbit hole when I listen to the podcast. So,
yeah.
That definitely so. And also just a couple more things here. And what's the best advice you can give to anybody at this point?
Things have a way of working out, so just go with the flow.
That sounds good. And would you like to play one more for us before we go tonight?
Sure.
We'd love to have you back. Great. Okay. Here we go. One more time with Kendra and the Bunnies on the Mike Wagner Show. Just wrapping up a great program. A big thank you for your time, and looking forward to having you on again soon. And I'd love to hear what you got.
Thank you. This is from my second album release. This is called Timely Vision. Something at the end of this tunnel. Please, God, let there be something at the end, waiting for me. I run to stomach another collapsement of time, singing, please, God, let there be something at the end, waiting for me. And yet, when's the best time to grasp enough conditional love to put in my knapsack and walk back home? It's now, it's now, it's always been now. I don't want to wait. It's already summer. It's already summer. nights like that to waste another day. Footsteps toward you, I saw an achievement. Oh, I sigh often. Oh Lord, oh God, I'm falling apart. I can sense my toes getting stronger. They want to climb up these trees and see what you see. But my head is heavy and my willpower's bleaker. There were days we used to play till dawn. Now we hunger life, singing, please God, let there be a certain source of light, one that can shut me up with and get real bright, and get real bright. It'll be alright. You know it's already summer.
That is fantastic. Pipe Dream from Kendra and the Bunnies. A very big thank you for your time. You've been absolutely fantastic. Looking forward to having you soon. And before we go, tell us about your upcoming projects once again. Tell us about your website. How do people contact you? And where can people purchase or check out your music?
Okay, cool. So my name is Kendra Muecke from Kendra and the Bunnies Music. I have 3 albums, 2 singles, and 2 remixes out on all music platforms. Just look up Kendra and the Bunnies on Spotify, Apple Music, YouTube, wherever you listen to music. I also have, these types of albums available. If you want one of these, you can get in contact with me via social media. So just look me up at Ken Bunny on Instagram and Twitter. That's Ken Bunny, KenBunny. Also on Facebook, I'm Kendra and the Bunnies Music. These books are available on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and you can get them directly from me. Just look up Kendra Muecke, Muecke, on Amazon or Barnes & Noble. My website, I'm currently constructing one website, but if you go to this URL, it'll lead you to my current website. So check out kendraandthebunnies.com, and it'll lead you to my current website that is my full name.com. But my full name is hard to spell, so check me out at kendraandthebunnies.com.
That's fantastic. Once again, Kendra, a big thank you for your time. You've been absolutely fantastic. Looking forward to having you again soon. Do us a favor, keep this up to date, and looking forward to what you got. And do us a favor, keep in touch as well.
Thanks, Mike. Thanks for having me on.